Hello everybody, this is Rita of the Shadow. Welcome. So, today we are talking about how to find out you and your someone else's MBTI type. And because, all of this started from shadow work, right? Because I talked about, why I think shadow work is important for us and how I define shadow work. And next, I use the 8 sides of mind model to talk about our personality type. And so if you have one ego, and in the 8 sides of mind approach, that means you have at least 7 different shadows, right? So I'm taking something very abstract like shadow work and giving you a structure and hopefully eventually actionable steps for you to give you the tools for you to do your own personal shadow work. So that is the purpose of my channel. And in order to do all of that, first you need to know what is your MBTI type. And it might also be helpful to find out what is someone else's MBTI type, so you can have a better relationship with them as a result. So and originally I meant to do it in one video, but I think it's going to be too long, so I will divide it into 2 parts. So the first part is the type test and the cognitive functions using the perceiving and judging table. And because this one I have already talked about it previously, so we can only just mention it briefly here. So I will be mainly talk about the type test for this particular video. In the next video, I'll be talking about the type grid method using C.S. Joseph's method and give you a bit of background on how to use it. And before I start talking about today's main topic, I just want to mention that mistyping is quite normal. It's like peeing in a shower, like everybody don't want to admit it, but we have all done it. So, and it happens. So the first is to accept mistyping can happen, and that is pretty okay, because if you know something is wrong, then you can eliminate that type or use it to find out the correct one. So before you try to find out what is your type, understand that mistyping is quite normal and accept that it can happen. And how to prevent it is, maybe if you have someone know more about the topic, you can use peer review approach, or you can ask your friend's opinion, and even if they don't know about MBTI stuff, you can ask them, hey, do you think I am this kind of person? You can pick one question from cognitive functions and ask them, do you think I'm this sort of person? And if they say, oh no, I don't think you are, so of course that is just one person's opinion, but it might give you additional insight. So and I'll give more explanation to all of this later. So anyways, and so first is the type test, right? So anyone can give you a list of tests of websites you can take, but what I'm doing here is that I'm giving you additional comments before and after you take the test. So before you take the test, maybe you want to pick, how do you pick the right test for you? And I have listed just 4 recommendations or at least the 4 that I know about first. So the first one on the top is the one that C.S. Joseph recommended in his typing video. So he said, if you want to take the test, maybe it's like this one might be okay for you. But the thing you need to know about this one is it's quite long. It has 401 questions, and so if you want to be really thorough and you have the patience, you can try it. But I must admit, I haven't tried it myself, so I don't know how accurate it is, because even I don't have this much patience. And yeah, so, and the second one is from C.S. Joseph's channel. Like they made an app for their website, and there's only 4 questions because it works very similar to how the type grid works. But I think if you want to use this, you might as well use the type grid instead of doing this, because I don't find that as accurate, because the test is dead and the humans are alive. So, and you might not understand the questions properly to be able to answer and give the right result, because it's like more the question is like a bit more abstract, I would say. So yeah, so if you want to, but if you want, you can also try this and see what you get. But do know, if you want to use this one, it will ask your email before you can get the result. And the next one is obviously the 16 personality website. So it gets a lot of bad rap, but I think it can still be useful in certain contexts, especially if you know, to mainly find out you are introvert or extrovert. Maybe you can use this one. And if you are lucky, you can maybe also get at least one side of mind correct, and hopefully that is the ego. But I wouldn't recommend trust it completely just by itself, maybe try a few more different ones to be sure. That is my recommendation. But obviously everybody have different preference, so you do what you feel is right. And that one has 54 questions, and this one is my friend Jay recommended to me. It's sakinnorma.net functions, and this one, it's try to test you on your cognitive functions, and it will give you a few choices based on the cognitive functions that you tested with. So yeah, and it has 96 questions. So I think if you want to use the Q&A approach, that is the tests, at least try, at least 2 or 3 of these, and then compare the answers, and see if you can find any similarities. And if you get totally different results, then maybe something is wrong, so you better collect more data to be sure. So yeah, but maybe you can, like find out what is your introvert or extrovert, and try to find using your cognitive functions, which we will explain in the next video. And so yeah, and the problem people might have with the test is that, it takes too long, as we said before. Oh my gosh, how long is gonna take? 401 tech questions? You're kidding me? I don't have time for this kind of thing. This takes forever. And or maybe you don't trust it. Why should I give my email to some unknown website. Maybe it's like they may send me scam emails or something, and or you just don't feel comfortable giving your private email to an unknown website. And for if it's only this reason that is bothering you, I would recommend using a temporary email. Just go to Google and type temp email, and then you can copy paste that email in for you to get the type result to that email. But don't close the window before you get the result from the email result from the test, obviously. So that is one way to get around that. But if you trust the website, obviously you can use your personal email. It's up to you. And the next one is maybe you just don't care, personality tests are all the same, or people change, how do I know what to believe? And none of the people I know cares about this, so why should I care? So for that, I have to say, I think it's a useful tool, but and I think it can really help us improve our life and have a better interaction with other people. But it's up to you what you want to do. So yeah, not forcing and just giving an information. So, and the next group of people might be there in denial because they don't want to be figured out or limited by a 4-character label, because they feel like maybe if everybody is grouped into like 16 categories, then they are nothing special. For that, I have to say, if you believe in the cognitive functions, I shouldn't say believe in, because it's like, I guess if you trust the cognitive functions, then it's only describing a natural pattern for you. It does not say anything about nurture. So maybe naturally we have 16 different preference tendencies, whatever the word you want to describe. But what makes you unique is still also your nurture part that is totally unique to you. So you are not becoming any less unique just by having your type results. So yeah. So and everybody is complicated because we all have, even if you get one type test result, you still, if you get one for your ego, if you use the 8 sides of mind model, you have all those 8 different minds to choose from when you want to be in which mind. So, and everybody have different preferences. So it's like you are still unique you in the way that you use your 8 minds. So yeah. And the last group of people is that they don't know if they answered the questions correctly, because I don't know if this is what I think or what I think I should think. They overthink too much, so they are not sure. So that can be also a struggle in finding out your test result. So yeah. And just to show you the 8 sides of my model to give you an idea what I'm talking about. So if the type test, if you are lucky, it will give you one of the 8, And if you are lucky, that would be happen to be the ego. But it can also be any of these ones. So I think you can use the test as like a ballpark to a ballpark answer. So I would recommend after you get your test result. So obviously, whichever one you get, for example, if you get INFP, then obviously check the video for INFP and preferably check from my channel when I have made it. Right now I haven't made it for INFP yet, but yeah. So, but obviously you can check from other people's channel like CS Joseph or any other personality big names. So yeah, and so obviously check the type description or check the video better. You know, I find CS Joseph's video to be logical and helpful, so I would recommend that. And of course, I also recommend my own one when I make it. And anyway, so enough advertisement. So when you find out your own one, then I would also recommend looking at other, you know, the neighboring sides of mind to be sure and find out which one is the best fit for you. So, because if you are, if you landed in any one of these, you will identify them with them in some way or form, especially this 7. This one, maybe you don't identify as much because it's your blind spot, but definitely the other 7, you will identify each one of them in some shape or form. But I would say the ego is the one that best describes who you are as a person inside. Maybe not necessarily what people see you, but how you feel on the inside. That is maybe your ego. And like, for example, the 4 videos that I have done before are the INTJ, ENTP, INTP, and ENTJ. So as you can see, they are all neighbors. So if you landed in any one of these, you will identify with some of them in a way. And there are still 4 more to go. So I'm planning to do the next ones from out of these 4, just for announcement, I guess. So yeah, so that is what I would recommend after you get your test result. Check the neighboring sides of my videos, and yeah. So where was I? Oh yeah. And the next is to use the cognitive functions as well. So I think this, I already talked about this one in my other video, but yeah, so you can use your perceiving and judging functions if you know what they are. So if you know, for example, you have SI, then obviously just look in this column, and then you find, are you an extrovert or introvert? So that's where the test can come in handy. So if you didn't know before, maybe you can try take the test and see what you got. So if you got something with SI and you got an extrovert, so there's high chance that you might be one of these 2. Yeah, so maybe you can compare it with what you got from the 16 personality website and see if they match what you are expecting. Because if you are a high SI user, then it means that you place a lot of focus on the tradition, and you are very duty based, and you have good memory, and you follow the rules, or certain things, and you want people to follow the tradition, then maybe you are an SI user. The list goes on, but yeah, so that is the rough description. Or if you are a very imaginative person, like you are always thinking in terms of possibilities, then maybe you are an E-oriented person. So look in this column, and are you an extrovert or introvert? And then you divide and conquer and narrow down to the most likely answer. Or you can use the judging function table, Are you a logical focused person, or are you an ethical person? You care about other people's feeling and what other people think is good or bad, or you care about your own morals, how I feel and what I think is good or bad. Or if you care about what other people think is true or not, or you care about the credentials, the references, so these two are on the same axis. So even if you identify with this one, you might identify a little bit with this one as well. So then you have to decide which one is your main focus, same as this one. So yeah. So I think this by itself is more useful to use it on yourself. I mean the cognitive functions, because you know yourself better. But if you want to use it from observing other people's behavior, it might be a bit difficult, because the behavior may not always reflect the truth or what they feel inside. But you know yourself better, so but still it's not guaranteed. It's just there's higher chance to be correct, because you might be in the different side of mind, for example. But yeah, so if you find out a possible type, then maybe you can do both. Like you can try to take about 2 or 3 tests and then see what you got, and then you also try to match with cognitive functions and see if that sounds right or not. And if it doesn't sound right, then yeah, maybe have a deeper look into that and find out why. Maybe you are in a different side of mind at that time, so so where are we? So ESFJ, right? So if you if you think this is not right, maybe you are in some of the other ones. So maybe check other videos and see if you identify other ones more. So yeah, that is the part 1 of how to find out your own or someone else's MBTI type. And that's all for now, and see you next time. Bye.